Narcissistic people say some of the cruelest and coldest things to you, and there's no hard and fast rules between what they might say, as they tend to pick out your weaknesses. They tend to pick out the things that are going to hurt you the most. They usually start off with subtle digs, subtle things, making remarks on how you're dressing, making remarks on your ability to do something effectively enough, making remarks on your intelligence. They don't dive straight in there and say something incredibly cruel, as then you would know that this is a rather cruel, cold person and step away. No, they come along and they treat you better than anyone ever has. They get you to a place where you become dependent on them. They create codependency within you. They often do this through many underhand means. They will find ways to set up bank accounts and get your name off these bank accounts. They'll find ways to not have you on the mortgage so that you've got no rights to the family home that you've also put into. They make it so it's incredibly difficult for you to escape them. So the only choice you've got left is to please them. And when you don't please them is when they will come out with some of the most coldest phrases possible to get at you, to punish you. As they lack the empathy to care, this is when they can tear you into absolute pieces, and then they will stand there with those cold, dark eyes and get pleasure out of the pain they are causing you. There's plenty of things that narcissistic people say that are calculated and cold and cruel about you or about other people. Any you've heard, please do add those into the comments. These are going to be into the comments. These are going to be some of the most serious things that a narcissistic person will say. So one thing they might do is they might just come home, and it's usually at a time when everything is going well within the relationship, when they've brought back that reward stage. So things seemingly are okay. Yet they come home and they just tell you that they've met someone new and they need you to move out because they're ready to move that new person in. And when you've spent years creating your life with somebody, when you have a history with them, when you're making plans for the future with them, when you've given them everything you've got, when they've taken your name off everything and you've got nowhere to go because they've isolated you from any form of support, friends, family, work, financial, they've isolated you from all forms of support. And then they tell you this is designed to crush you. And they'll often come at you with more insults like, see who'd want to put up with somebody like you. They will be out there smearing your name to people, telling people how crazy you are. And they've usually driven you into depression and then helped you get those antidepressants so that they can slowly take things away from you and slowly blame you to everybody around them, so that they can play the martyr of how much they've sacrificed their life trying to help and support you, and they just could not take any more. So they get all their flying monkeys and enablers onto their side while you're left devastated and crushed and trying to piece your life back together when everything's just completely fallen apart. People who haven't lived it would probably think that the majority of people would be pleased that the narcissist has moved on. However, narcissistic people have a way of devaluing you so that you become reliant upon them. And it's hideous experience to go through. You should just unalive yourself. They'll not say it in that manner. They'll tell you more direct. And they might even leave the knife out for you. They might even leave the pills out for you. They might even leave the rope out for you. They might even give you ideas of how you can do this. They are going to absolutely take everything they possibly can from you. So even though you want to live, you feel like you've got nothing left to live for. And as they've often isolated you from people, they will have often told you that your family don't care about you, your friends don't like you, your children think you're useless. They get you to a point where you feel like those around you would be better off without you. And they are driving you to do this to yourself so that they can get away with it. And they literally lack the empathy to care. They just want to see how far they can push you. I hope you get, and then some awful disease, some awful condition, some serious illness that isn't curable. They might not actually say this to you. They might just say this to you about one of their exes. And they genuinely hope that their ex gets one of these things and doesn't survive it. And at some point they turn it on to you. They wish you just drop, and they wish you just get some incurable disease, and they want to watch you suffer. And if you do get some sort of illness, they'll not be there for you. They'll be off with somebody new, usually blaming you as to why they had to move on with somebody new, because you weren't giving them enough attention, because you were too busy in a hospital getting medical treatment that you need to survive. And if you do have some form of illness, they're going to turn around and tell you that you deserved it. And no one deserves it. Yet a narcissist will happily stand there, because you're getting the treatment you need. The narcissist is no longer getting the attention they believe that they're entitled to. So they're going to claim that you deserve the illness you've got, because they're envious that they're not getting the attention they believe they're entitled to. Or if you're getting support from friends and family members, the narcissistic person feels envious of the support you're getting that you actually need to recover from something. They're envious of that. You're taking the attention away from the narcissist. So they're not going to be supportive of you in your time of need. They're going to be cruel and cold and calculated towards you. I should have aborted you. I wish you'd never been born. Narcissistic parents are some of the cruelest people you could ever meet. Narcissists in general are. Narcissistic partners make no better parents. They still have those underlying traits. They still have the sense of entitlement, the lack of empathy, the willingness to exploit people, the envy towards people. And they can and will be envious of their own children, even if it's just their own children taking up too much of their time. They literally drive their children into not feeling like they belong, and then blame their children. I'll make you disappear. This is a bit of a veiled threat, because they're not telling you how or what. They're just going to claim that if you don't stop your games, usually if you start standing up to a narcissistic person, they're going to claim if you don't stop your games, they're going to make you disappear. And when they stand there with those jet black eyes so cold and callous, you actually believe that they are capable of doing this. However, because you once had a connection with them, you can kind of think, that person isn't capable of doing something like that. You can actually phone police officials, and if they're ones that understand narcissism and psychopaths and sociopaths, they might be stood there trying to explain to you the severity of the situation you're in, and you might be downplaying it. You might be, you know you need the help, which is why you called for the help, you called for the backup. However, because you know the narcissist, when they can treat you well, you can find yourself downplaying the behaviour and not believing that they could actually carry out the threat that they're making towards you. And when it comes to a narcissistic person, when you or somebody else calls them out on these threats, on these things, they either deny all knowledge of ever saying it, or they accuse you of being too sensitive, of overreacting, of not being able to take a joke, of misunderstanding them. They are incredibly cruel. And in one sense, they know that that cruelness is wrong, as when you do call them out, they turn around and claim that you're the one with the problem, you're the one that took it the wrong way, you're the one that can't take a joke, you're the one that's overreacting. They didn't mean it. However, in the moment they said it because they meant it. And if you catch a narcissist at the wrong moment, they will carry through with the threats that they make to you. When you leave a narcissist is one of the most dangerous points of the relationship, which is why you need to get out safely and get the support to get you through. Because narcissistic people lack empathy. Those who lack empathy and feel entitled to exploit you, when they're losing that entitlement to control you, they seek many different ways to punish you. Most of them don't want to get caught out on this, which is why they play many covert, underhand games to get back at you, why they smear your name, why they drag you through the court process, because they're looking to try and destroy you any way they can, in the hopes that you destroy yourself for them. These aren't things that should be taken lightly, and they're not things that people who cared about people would say to another person. So if you know someone who says these things about another person or says these things to you, this is the kind of person you need to safely move away from. If anyone has any thoughts on this video, please do add those into the comments. The worst thing you ever heard a narcissist say to you, please also add those into the comments so that those reading through can understand that when someone is saying these things to them, it's nothing to do with who they are as a person, and it's everything to do with who the person is that is saying these things to you. It shows their lack of empathy, their lack of respect, their lack of thought for you. So when you've heard these things, it's not you with the issues. It's the person that's saying these things that is creating those issues within you. As most often than not, the person who is being told these things is the person who doubts and blames and questions themselves, and the narcissist gets away with it. Thank you very much to all the returning subscribers and your continued support with the channel. It's greatly appreciated. If you are new to the channel, I am Elizabeth Shaw, and this channel is all about narcissistic behaviour to give you more understanding of the people you might be dealing with within your life and how to handle yourself around those people if you cannot go no contact. And no contact is always the best approach if possible. If you do find the information helpful on the channel, please do subscribe. If you are looking for further help and support in understanding and overcoming narcissistic and emotional abuse, I do have several online guides available, and those teachable links are in the video description. If you're looking for someone to speak to or have partnered with BetterHelp, and their sponsored link is also in the video description. Go out there and create the day that you deserve, because you do deserve to have an amazing day. Bye.